Stream. Hi. Hello. Can everybody hear me? Go to Shayla said. I'm trying to add you now.
Oh, this right here, upcoming?
No, it should be live.
Yep. I think I see you.
Can you see me? Hey, everybody. I don't see it. Oh, okay. Let me add you. Put user in timeout. How do we add here? Show. Hey, how do I add new layout? Invite. Let me send you an invite. Copy. Send to your email. All right, let me log out of this. At least we're learning how to do it now.
And just send it to the King and D card email.
What? Here is your link. Okay, who am I sending it to? Oh, okay. Kenya. This thing is a little tricky. All right, I just sent it. Is it live?
All right, I just sent it. It's so crazy how they play.
All right, Sheila said. Let me see.
Okay.
It's lagging. Hey, you got the invite? All right, so let's get off the phone. Did you click the invite? Okay, add to stream.
Ah,
Hey, okay, so
hola. We made it work.
It finally got to work. Okay, so I'm still learning this thing here. Okay, so we can start. I know we don't have a lot of time. I know that the sound is working, everything is working. I want to be able to share the
I
link.
want to pause because it sounds like a lot of words. Let's let everything stop.
It's an echo. It's good or it's an echo?
Wait.
So wait, you're playing it. So you can't be playing YouTube.
Okay, I got it.
That's why there's an echo.
Got it. Okay, I'm here now.
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, girl.
Okay, so welcome. It's been a long time coming now. We had to do a lot to get here, but we are here. We are here nonetheless, and we are here to talk about love marriage in Huntsville, what I like to call love marriage in Hunts Point. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, put the bell button on for more notifications. I am here with the lovely Kicking It with Kenya, and we are ready to get into some things. I took my notes, child. This episode was
Child, my notebook is full.
Please.
I am ready. I am so ready. Like, so we're gonna go in order, right? Because I want to dissect these scenes.
Yes. We can definitely go in order. But before we start, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Yes, so my name is Kenya, but you can find me on Instagram with name Kickin It with Kenya. It's very tricky. So it's KICKNITWIT _ We had to put a lot of ebonics in there so that people understand. But yes, Instagram Kicking It with Kenya, TikTok Kicking It with Kenya, YouTube Kicking It with Kenya. Everything is going to be brand moving forward because I want y'all to find me with one name.
Right. All right. So without further ado, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her channel, follow her on YouTube, all that good stuff.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's talk about Love, Marriage, and Hunts Point.
Yeah, can I say I'm so happy that we're doing this? Because first of all, I didn't even know you watched.
Yes.
We discovered that in our last episode that will be coming soon. But
right.
I did not even know you watched. And I've been waiting for somebody to key about with this show.
Oh, it's a mess. This show is a freaking mess. This show. Hold on. Let me see something real quick.
I got my coffee. I am energized.
Right. I just made my coffee. Hold on. So I'm trying to pin this to let people know to, subscribe to the channel, whatever. Okay, so let's start. What do you think about Kimmy and Kiuwaaat sit down?
Okay, first of all,
right.
Why is it that I feel bad for Kimmy? And I'm going to explain why. Because I feel like this is a conversation that is not one that Kimmy and Kiuwaaat need to have. This is something Kiuwaaat and Maurice need to have. And I hate that Maurice just keeps on making it seem like it's a Kimmy thing. This is a Kimmy problem. And it's like she's on this poor island by herself in what is supposed to be a marriage. Like, did you choose me or not? Because if you chose me to be your wife and this your baby, the ex-wife, now, because I'm put respect on it, the ex-wife has an issue with how we started. I don't know that, because honestly, the way Kiuwaat's interaction was, it's given. Mm-hmm. I think she realizes Kimmy don't really know the real nitty-gritty of her and Maurice's real end.
Right.
It's given. I'm trying to respect you because I'm realizing he might have told you some revisionist history. But I'm also not about to say that you didn't have some influence, because if Kimmy said to Melody that she was on some reconciliation when she met Maurice, are you aware of that? Do you know what Maurice was saying? I was about to say quinoa. Dude, do you know what Maurice was saying to Kiuwaaat in their pillow talk? If reconciliation was on the table,
he was probably feeding her all types of shit. I mean, stuff. No. Sorry.
No, but it's like that's the vibe I'm getting from Kiuwaaat. I'm getting a vibe where it's like, girl, I realized in that moment when I said what I said that you truly don't know what was going on. So I'm going to apologize for putting that out there, because it sounds like you don't know, but I'm not about to run back everything I said. But at the same time, I think this is a conversation Maurice need to have with Kiuwaaat and say some apologies, but he's not, because he's such an avoider. And I just can't stand that. It just seems like Kimmy just accepts these like 15% apologies just to keep the peace. Like, it pisses me off. And another thing, and I'm sorry I'm going off on just this one little scene, but I be feeling bad for my Kimmy. I love Kimmy. I actually really do love Kimmy, and I want the best for Kimmy. But when she mentioned that I did a lot to protect Monster, but nobody cared about protecting Jalen. Like,
right. That's true.
That to me is, all right, Maurice, you see your woman is doing everything she can to protect your child. But when are you going to step in and do everything you can to show your extended child that I'm doing everything I can to protect your mother? You don't even care about Jalen. He's trying to get Jalen out the house.
Right. So this is my thought. This is my thought behind it. I think the sit down was stupid. In my opinion, I also think that Kimmy had, I love Kimmy too, but I think that Kimmy allowed Maurice to really put the battery in her back to have this sit down with Kiuwaaat. She never wanted to have this sit down, number one.
No.
And number two, do I feel like Kimmy was the side chick? I do feel like it overlapped. Whether she knew she was a side chick or not, I do feel like
side chick. That's a harsh word. I think she was a good little, she came as a rebound in the midst of not concluded mess.
But when I say that, I don't think either she wasn't aware she was, or she was aware, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think the times overlapped. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that might have been a Kimmy thing. It was a Maurice thing. So usually when the foundation of the relationship is janky as hell, usually when you're dealing with an ex-wife or a baby mama, or now introducing a new person to the equation, that relationship is going to be janky as hell. So that was on Maurice to do that properly, to do the introduction properly. They should not have been meeting each other on that janky behind foundation. So I think, once again, Maurice just protecting himself, just looking out for himself, really just wanted to move on without thinking about Jalen, without thinking about Monster, without thinking about Kiuwaaat. And we know he don't be thinking about Kimmy and putting her first, in my opinion. I'm just saying. So for me, this was a Maurice sit down. You're going to Kiuwaaat, and I love Kimmy, but it's like you're going to Kiuwaaat to ask her for an apology. She doesn't owe you an apology. Your man owes you an apology, and he should be handing out damn apologies left and right to everybody, to Jalen, hell, to us for bringing us in the middle of this mess. Especially to sit down with him and Carlos, it's like he owes them an apology for not handling this properly. People move on every day, and that's okay. It's how you handle it that's the problem.
I agree. I really agree. I 100, you didn't say nothing but a word. I truly think in this moment, all right, the origin of it was a mess. But Maurice, you not stepping in and acknowledging that this was a mess is preventing this unit from getting closed. And I feel like you don't want to admit to the wrong, which is maybe you were playing both sides of the fence and then you inevitably chose Kimmy. And then you kind of left Kiuwaaat in the dust. And this is why Kiuwaaat, even though she has a whole nother man, you still seem like you are having unresolved issues with Maurice because you didn't get the closure that you needed. And this man is a ducker. And he just ducks problems, and he doesn't handle them. But yet you want to come in like the big man on key. You should take them suits off because it's all an act. It's all phony. I feel bad because you could tell Kimmy is a grown woman who invited this man into her life thinking that he's going to protect her and be her companion and partner. And all he does is delegate tasks, put these high expectations on her, even in the midst of her battling a disease, putting these high ass expectations on her. How dare you even put yourself first in this equation when she is dealing with breast cancer? And some people don't make it out of that alive. That should be handled with a level of care, but you can't step outside yourself long enough to not think about sex. So I already know if cancer isn't going to make you look within, this little conversation with Kiuwaaat and how your son is acting in the house and how Kimmy isn't getting the respect. Kimmy, boo, you ain't never going to get the respect you deserve from this man. I'm sorry. If cancer couldn't do it, then it ain't going to happen. For me, I just don't see what could make him tender, loving, and caring and really doing all the things. Now, once again, this is 10% of their lives that we see. You know, I was on a small little reality show and we would film for hours, and at most you will only see maybe 10 minutes of it. But it's still, I will say, with that experience, it's still what you showed.
Right.
You still chose to show that. You still chose to show that personality trait. It's in you. So whether it's 10 minutes or not, you're still capable of that. And I just don't see, and I just feel like every time Kimmy leaves a scene, she just looks defeated. Every time. She looks defeated and she looks like, okay, this is good enough. That's how it is. It's just, it's good enough. And it's like, she shouldn't feel like that. And honestly, the only question I had is, Jalen, where are you? Your mama needs you.
I heard allegedly he left Huntsville.
Well, it's time to get your bags back. And
right.
I don't know. Your mama needs you. They are running up in her house. Nobody's respecting her. Maurice is saying outlandish crap.
Okay.
At this point, Jalen, you are a grown man, and it is okay for you to press that man as such. He needs to respect your mama.
People beat their stepdaddies up every day.
Listen, and I ain't even saying they got to go that far, but it's like at some point, I need a scene with Jalen where he's like, did you really say this about, what is this thing about the side chick? I need Jalen to start raising up that base. You her only son, and nobody's going to love her the way you love her. You need to protect that woman because she is just she's going through cancer, being asked for sex. That's crazy.
It's very crazy.
Very crazy.
It's just, I feel like that it was like either we need a storyline or I don't know. And I feel like Kimmy, to make my last point about this sit down, but I feel like Kimmy always has a voice when it comes to other people. But when it comes to Maurice, she shrinks herself and she is too beautiful. She is too amazing. She is too much of a boss. And I mean, come on, you was a single mother and you did the thing. Being a nurse and multiple other streams of income, like you're doing the damn thing. And you mean to tell me you letting 10-gallon head shrink you down into nothing.
Right.
And it's like she could speak up for everybody else, but can't speak up for him. It's so sad. It makes me sad.
It does, and especially like given her situation and what she's going through. Like Carlos King touched on this on his podcast. I feel like it was a little far back when he was like, "This is the first time we're seeing a woman," and it's crazy because out of all the Housewives franchises, we never seen nobody deal with breast cancer, right? And with her dealing with it on TV and her still looking as fabulous as ever, I know there's days you're probably sick. And you're still looking as good as ever. And honestly, you look like she didn't miss a beat to me, but I don't know her ins and outs. But it's simple fact that to me, you're very strong. You're very strong.
Right.
I had a breast scare and I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I was freaking out until I found out it was nothing. But it's just like the fact that you're going through it and you're going through it with such grace. I know what strength you have. And it's just, it would be nice to see you not back down. Because what's the worst that could happen? He want a divorce or something like that. I mean, granted, divorce is a mess. But, girl, once again, cancer didn't humble this man. I don't see what's going to humble him at this point. I just don't.
We're going to dive into that in like another video on this Maurice guy and the need to have your wife roll over and suffer in the midst of having cancer.
That's the R word.
Out the group chat because I would have cursed, child.
I don't want to say it, but that's giving R word vibes. If she's not with it, and she's not really into it, and she's not wet, and she's not any of that stuff, and you just want her to roll over and spread the legs wide. What is this, Handmaid's Tale?
Oh my God. The fact that she... Oh my God. So we're going to talk about that in another video. The Fox Soul interview, we have to go live and dissect that. I know I did it in, if you go to my channel, I posted it yesterday, but I got a lot more to say and we will do that live.
Yes, we will.
At another time. Okay. So for everybody that are joining us right now, I see a lot of people coming in. We are talking about Love, Marriage, and Huntsville on OWN Network. If you have not seen it after this live, please go and watch it. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to follow Kenya at Kicking It with Kenya on all platforms.
Yes.
Just make it respectful in the comments. We can go back and forth, kickin and all of that. Okay, so next, what do you think about the Mel and Stormy sit down?
Okay. I'm a jump I wrote something in my notes first that I must grab my attention. Then I wrote something after. Let me break down Stormy, because honestly, I have an issue with this. When she said my mama is someone I can't control. The same way we don't like these dynamics of men and women in relationships, I don't understand why are we always getting shown a codependent dynamic with mother and daughter. I am so sick and tired of it's Stormy and then it's mother. Then it was the mother from SWV. Then it's Candy and her mother. It's like, what do you mean you can't tell your mother you're wrong? The last episode made me very mad. You're a grown woman. This is your house. Your mother was dead wrong. And you can tell her that. I have a great relationship with my mom, and you know, Shay, like you follow me on Instagram.
Right.
I have a great relationship with my mother, and it's so great that if she was wrong, I could tell her that. And it's so great that she'll be like, you might be right. I don't understand how you can't tell your mom where she's wrong. But at the same time, I would say, I think it was referencing the high tea. Right. I understood her mother's point then. I understood it then, because Melody does have and I love Mel. I really do love Mel. And because I love Mel, I'm not going to be one of those kiss ass fans.
Right.
Melody sometimes do have a tendency of avoiding the real topic when it comes to conversations. I don't think she leans all the way in, and then she comes off as this passive cutesy shade, and it comes off a little bit as childish. Even if she might be in the right, the way she speaks, it makes you look like you're wrong, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense. I think to piggyback off what you said as far as Stormy's mother, first of all, I thought this conversation was a little bit pointless. I thought it was like a filler, and it was kind of pointless if you ask me. But I do feel like I understand. So I kind of had a similar, not to tell my business, but I kind of had a similar relationship with my mom. And like, if you're fortunate, like in your case, you know, you have a great relationship with your mom, but I get that dynamic, right?
Okay.
So it's a dynamic, not when necessarily the mother is narcissistic, but it's a dynamic where the mother can sometimes be controlling and put more on the daughter that needs to be. It could be the firstborn daughter. It could be the struggles of being a single mother and that pressure of it. So it's a lot that plays into it, but definitely the control aspect is definitely there. Basically causing the daughter to shrink down and not have a voice. It's kind of similar to Monster and Maurice. And that dynamic, him not feeling like he has a voice to speak up and stand up to his parent. And a lot of times that could be the case when with a child, you know, shut up, don't say anything, don't do anything. You're muting your child's voice. So if you muted your child's voice for so long and they become adult, they don't have a voice. It's hard for them to have a voice in their personal, the intimate relationship, the voice with the friendship, their voice at work or at school. They grow up being muted, having no voice. So I kind of get that, and I feel bad for Stormy. I love Stormy, but I kind of understand that dynamic. And unfortunately, it's a lot of that. A lot of Black women have that experience with their mothers.
Yeah, and see, then I would want that story to be told. I would like, I don't know what that would look like, but I would want to see, you know, Stormy, and she's still new, and maybe we might get there. But even like with, like I said, the reference points of like Candy, whatever, like that, I would love to see dynamics where they push that, like learned behavior, you know, and they actually sit there and they attempt at it, even if they think the mother's gonna buck back. Because there has to be a recognition that this is wrong, and that's what I mean by that. And you have to show people how to break that cycle. When you're on these reality shows, you can't take this lightly. At the same time, there are people looking up to you. So, with hearing your side, I didn't think about it like that. I did grow up fortunate to have a good dynamic with my mother, where I have a voice. But to think about it like that, there are other people who grew up like you. Wouldn't your goal be to try to break this cycle for other people?
it's hard to break generational curses. So I get Stormy. I love Stormy, and I feel like she has so much to offer reality TV other than her and that male dynamic.
But the reason
I feel like it's just a waste of time. Like she's a Canva beauty products, baby. Come on. It's in the Walmart, it's in the Target, it's at every shopping center. Like she has so much to offer this show outside of male. You can talk about her mother and daughter dynamic. Right. And we're gonna talk later about her husband and him being vulnerable. I thought that was beautiful, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. But I feel like that was stupid. And then to say that Mel is gaslighting us and passive aggressive. What did you think about that? Because
but to me, she's not far off, because even with the high T, she was being passive aggressive. The mother said what she said. She said there was a rumor going around and Stormy was the one that recorded you. You put out a tweet that left it ambiguous. Why didn't you say it wasn't Stormy? What did Melody do? Never gave a straight answer. Went around. No, I'm asking you. And your mother said, why didn't you say it wasn't Stormy? And then Melody still didn't answer. So to be honest, when you're in a relationship with someone, and they probably learned narcissism behavior, and it probably is a defense mechanism. She probably don't even know how to admit sometimes she's wrong at first, because she looked at her counterpart not do it either. So I could give her passes on that to a certain extent. But even in conversations with Melody, you could tell there's other layers. And we as the audience know, especially when you're on social media and you hear what it is. Allegedly, I don't know how real this is, but let's just say what I heard was, you're mad at Stormy because she started getting closer to the Scotts, or she went on a vacation or something?
Well, she kind of know
You said she kind of what?
Or the side piece, Ariane.
She know the side piece?
Yeah, she's familiar with the side piece.
That's why the conversation looked pointless, because nobody's saying what needs to be said. That's why it was pointless, because it's like when Melody is in a scene with Tisha or Kimmy or anybody else other than Nell, she gives surface level responses. When you know there are other layers to why you're pissed, why don't you just say it?
You know what I think it is, and it's not. And I hope the mellometers, the melatonin.
No, I love Melody. Let's get this real clear.
I hope they don't drag us in this video. Do not be dragging us.
But I love her.
I love her too. But I think it is. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio just like Mel. And it's not to make excuses for her, because I do think she's hella passive aggressive. I do, but I also think that because of Martell and that damage that he caused, especially on public national syndicated television, I do believe that she's scarred. And she doesn't know who to trust. So with that, I give her a little bit more grace.
And I said I give her passes, but then why can't you articulate that? And I'm sure there are millions of women out there that gets it. But when you start with this whole, I'm in a positive place, I'm this, or I don't know what you're talking about. I don't really have a problem. Or when her first interaction with Stormy was, oh, you know what it was? I changed my number. Why didn't you ask me for it? What? Like, it be those moments where I'm like, Melody, that's a little childish. If I went off of this exchange, let's just say I'm not a fan that's going to go on the YouTubes and do all the things. I'm a normal fan. Mm-hmm. If I'm looking at just this exchange, I would say you're childish as hell. What kind of friend are you where I have to go find you to get your new number? But if you sat there and said, oh, I changed my number on your A because you was over there with the you make the argument make sense. You fill in the blanks for the audience. You cannot expect your audience to understand you when we don't know what's going on.
That's true.
So when you're in these scenes, it only looks pointless because Melody isn't talking the way she needs to speak. And then when she does talk, it's mostly with Nell and Chris.
And those are the people she trusts.
Sure.
I'm gonna be honest with you. She talks with people that she trusts.
And I agree, but boo, this is a show. And at the end of the day, you want to show with Tisha, Kimmy, and you love the Core Six. Well, Kimmy loves the Core Six. At the end of the day, you signed up to be back on the show. You better get comfortable and explain your points. Ain't nobody say you gotta be friends, but when her and Tisha had that sit down, and she said, "Let's be honest, There's a lot that happened. What was the lie? Seriously, what was the lie? Say the lie. Say it. You called me a dark soul. I know Marceau knew Arian, allegedly. I knew this. I knew that. Say it so that your fans and everybody else could fully understand your side. But when you talk the way you talk, it gives off childish. And then it gives off passive.
I do agree. Now, y'all melatonins, y'all melancholies, y'all millimeters out there, don't drag us, because I know how y'all get about Mel, and we love Mel.
We love Mel. We want to see Mel win.
Love Mel, but I mean, I agree with some of the stuff you're saying.
I want to see Mel win, and I do want to see her win. But at this point, and I'm gonna make this point later on when we start getting into the expo. And
that's yo, in my notes, I
said this word be tearing Tisha ass up.
Tisha be fighting for her life.
It be expo and test. The Texas. It be the the expo. I'm gonna make a point about Mel when we get to the expo.
Oh my God, I'm crying now. I literally wrote expo.
I said Tisha, the word is expo, not expo. The word be tearing her ass up. It be tearing it up.
I'll be like, Tisha with the words. Girl,
just take your time.
She be fighting for her life.
But she be trying though, and I appreciate it. Girl got a speech teacher.
I like that about her. She just rolls over
it's
the
just
words.
Fun. It's just fun, Tisha. There's a lot of words I can't say. I still can't say Cincinnati fast.
Right. She just be rolling over the words like, who gonna check me?
Texas.
Who's gonna check me about the expo?
But yeah, that's the point I had with Melody and Stormy, and I think it's a bigger conversation to have with Melody, how she wants to handle her career on this show moving forward. You're gonna have to stop with the passive responses and start giving people what they want, which is, you want the truth, I'm gonna give it to you. You gotta Nene Leaks that shit. You gotta give it to people.
Yeah, no, that's true. Oh my God. Okay, so let's move on to the comeback group, the expo.
The expo.
Oh no, we're not there yet.
No, we are there.
Oh no, Monster and Maurice. What do you think about them playing basketball? I guess he got tired of y'all dragging him to filth. He said, I'm gonna go outside and play basketball with
do something for 5 minutes.
My kid. I'm gonna do something, pickleball or something with my son.
I'm gonna be a parent one way or another.
Okay, we're gonna play Uno or something. Y'all gonna see me on this TV spending time with my kids. So what did you think about that? First of all, I thought his son was kicking his ass in the basketball.
Didn't he beat him?
He beat him something crazy. I didn't even know Monster was that tall.
Yeah, well, how tall is Maurice?
I ain't checking.
I know Marceau is over 6 feet, right? But I don't know. Maurice looks shorter than Marceau.
All the Scots seem, outside of Monster, they all seem weird and tall. Child, please.
You think Maurice is tall? I thought Maurice was shorter than Martell in some
His head make him tall.
Yeah. Honestly, that seemed to me, all right, in that brief moment of that exchange, one thing I will say with Maurice is something that I also am fearful of when it comes to me having a kid, because it's no secret that I grew up in Les Projects, you know. It's no secret. I grew up in, Les Projects. And because I grew up in, Le Hood, I have a certain level of hustle in me that came from survival. So, I always want to make sure I was successful. And I guess I could understand a disconnect when you don't see your son as motivated, but at the same time, it's like, as a parent, you built yourself up so well that you give your kid a certain life. But then it's like they miss that hustle mentality. And it's almost like, how do I teach that when it wasn't taught? Like, that's something that wasn't taught to me. It was something that was something you had to do in order to get out. So it's not like I had the luxury of sitting around being like, I'm gonna see how life do me. So I could understand if that's the case, what Maurice is saying about how I genuinely don't know how to teach hustle, because Maurice and Marceau do not ever hide the fact that they grew up very poor and like they didn't have food and all of that stuff. So to them, they're like, you have everything. Why aren't you hustling?
But I think this scene really, but we talk about hustle mentality. I think sometimes you should let kids be kids.
Yeah. Because we didn't, that's the thing that we missed.
I'm thinking like,
yeah.
I appreciate, even though I don't like Maurice, I don't like them Scott brothers. Okay. Just gonna tell you right there, miss me with the Scotts. And I really want to see some identification on who raised these guys.
Their mom was on the show.
Huh?
Their mother made appearance and their father.
Child. I want to see. But I think this scene really opened up to why Maurice and Marceau are the way that they are. Mm-hmm. And it's like you could have missed it if you wasn't paying attention. Like the whole, at your age, your uncle had 15 jobs. I had 16 jobs. And it's like, dude, y'all, he was like, we were taking care of ourselves. And it's like, dude, at that age, you were supposed to be a child.
Yeah.
It was on your parents to take care of you. And it's like, now I get why they treat their wives the way that they do, why they treat people around them the way that they do. But it was just like a little peephole into who they are and why we don't like them, why they love gaslighting people, their hustle mentality, even if it's at the detriment of their own marriage and family. But I think there should be a limit with this hustle mentality. Like, he's a kid. Yes, you teach kid responsibilities. Throwing that trash out is something you're supposed to be doing. Making that bed is something that you're supposed to be doing. But to expect your son to be having 15 jobs, like, we want to do better than our parents did for us.
Right.
But with that, we have to also do better with breaking generational curses.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, you, with doing better for your kids and what your parents did for you, it's so that your kid doesn't have to struggle. So this need for some parents to demand and put so much on their kids, it's not necessary. To a certain extent, it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. And it's weird, right? Because the Scott men, we both know. Yeah, you know, but it's weird because between Marceau and Maurice, right? Sometimes I find myself really wanting to like Marceau, and I will say why. I will defend why. There was a scene one time he had with his father when his father came to Black, I think, the smoking bar, and he was explaining, he's, you know, how Marceau feels. I'm paraphrasing everything, but how he feels he can't stop because he's so afraid of going back there. And you got to remember, it's like, you want, I get both sides. You want your kids to be kids. But at the same time, I can't let my foot off the gas because you got to remember, Marceau and Maurice are one generation out of the hood. One.
Yes.
Just like any given bad mistake, bad decision on a kid's part, a jail time, anything goes wrong, especially with Black people, everything that Marceau and Maurice work for is gone. They're not, we don't have generational wealth. This is just the first generation. This is it. Marceau and Maurice are literally I don't know, they got like a lot of siblings, I think. But I don't know what the rest of them are doing. But Marceau and Maurice that we know are first generation out of poverty. Not even out of like being okay. It sounded like they were in poverty, like no food, no things like that. And the fact that they accomplished so much. And when Marceau be having his candid moments where he is talking about how he needs to stop working, all that, I think he's fearful that if he stops and he learns how to handle, if he don't got control, he don't trust no one to handle his life because he's afraid of going back there. And honestly, they're not that rich where one bad mistake can't ruin their whole entire wealth. And if they have all of these sons, well, not all of these sons, but they have Marceau Jr., is he a junior? MJ or whatever. And then you got Monster. And I think those are only two boys that they each have. And you want them to take over legacy. It's like, as much as you want them to be kids, to be honest, that luxury won't be given until your kids have kids. Because we're not generationally built where we get to say, well, you relax. No. So it's like, it's like kind of finding that balance though. What's the proper balance where little Monster and little MJ can be workers while also still having some luxury of being a kid. But I get both. I get both sides. I really honestly do.
Get it.
I do. Because you can't be playing games, especially with all that they did, with all the obstacles that they were faced and was put in front of them. You can't handle that lightly either. So it's like, in a way, that little interaction and that conversation Marcel had with his father, I always understood why they were the way they were. I just don't like that they project those insecurities and that controlling thing in a negative. I can't stand that. That's what I can't stand.
That's true. That's true. Well, speaking of, I think this whole episode was really about parent and child dynamic for the most part. Outside of the expo. I think it was, but okay. What do you think about Courtney and his mother sitting down to have that moment? I loved it. I was here for it. I said, finally, a husband that gets it, or at least is realizing, okay, it's a reason why I'm acting the way I'm acting. I'm not just choosing to dismiss my wife. I'm not just choosing to dismiss my family. It's some deep-rooted stuff. And I'm gonna go to the source. I'm gonna go to my mama and them
and see what's up.
And we're gonna talk about it. I love how vulnerable he was. And it's like, okay, we finally get to meet a husband that kind of gets it.
Yeah, and I appreciate, and that's the one thing I will say Carlos King got really right, is the fact that participation of the men are very high on all of these franchises when it comes down to, from what I'm hearing, a Bell Collective and what I'm hearing about Love and Marriage Detroit. And I did watch DC, and with I like that he stresses both genders' participation in the show, even when they have their own solos.
Well, and I like it's toxic though.
Yeah, obviously he has a lot to go on. Right. He has a lot to fix, but it's nice to get the blueprint on men being vulnerable. Because I like seeing that demonstrated, even if it's bad, at least it's a start, Right. And when it came to Courtney, and even I'll give that credit to the Whitlow man, Lewis. Sometimes Lewis has his moments as well, but with Courtney, I didn't understand the scene at first. I felt like the conversation was a little choppy. I didn't get how we were getting to this point, but when we landed on the point, I was like, okay, I like that you didn't just tell your wife no, and that was it, and the oppression. No, you was like, all right, I told her no, I feel like a dick. Let me go talk to my mama because I need to understand what's my real issue. And I appreciated that he did that step to go outsource why he doesn't want to have more children and not just show a dynamic where he's disrespectful to Stormy. I love that was.
I loved it. I love that he really wanted to get to the bottom,
to get clarity. He really wanted,
of what happened, and I felt so bad for him. And unfortunately, it's a lot of Black men's story,
right?
Growing up without a father and having to teach yourself, but it's really about breaking generational curses, and I think that's what Courtney and him are trying to do.
Yeah, and I
just think that it's like that with millennials in general, right? Because we're at a certain age where the new school today and then the old school way of doing things. So we're at a point where we have the resources, we have better opportunities. We are in the middle where we could really break generational curses. And I'm gonna be honest, and I only think millennials are, even though anybody could break generational curses, but I think we're definitely able to break generational curses. And I think us as a collective, we are really trying hard. More of us are going to therapy versus our parents.
I'm in therapy.
Versus even those younger than us. Most of us are realizing, oh, like I got some issues.
Right.
Or, oh my God, my parents had issues. My grandparents have issues. I need to be on medication. I need to be doing this. We're more self-aware.
And we're better with money. We're having better conversations around what that looks like.
Being more vulnerable and more honest. We're having open conversation, whereas the demographic before us, it was like, what happens in a house stays in the damn house.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I gotta say. I know there's mixed feelings on the internet about Carlos King. I honestly don't have a mixed feeling for him. I like him.
I like him too, but
I like him. Look, I'm gonna say I like him, but me and him could talk. You know, that's what it is.
Yes.
I like you, Carlos, and I would love to work with you.
Yes, Carlos.
But
if you see in this video, I should have tagged him on Twitter, and I will later. But if you see this video, Carlos, come to New York so that me and Kenya could sit down. We need to chat over a couple of mimosas. Bottomless mimosas. We need to just talk and have a coming to Jesus, because we love you. But when you're a fan of somebody, you could still hold them to the.
You can still, and I say that's the thing I will give him flowers for. Who the hell would have ever thought to have a reality show in Huntsville? Nobody would have thought about. I didn't even know that place existed.
Girl,
to be honest,
don't tell nobody. But I didn't even know how to spell Huntsville at first.
I didn't even know that place existed. But you took that chance and you took that risk. And you know how much money they're making now? Huntsville is up and coming like crazy. So this one show put so many eyes on it and so many businesses. And let's also be 100%. The thing that we love about this cast is, but we don't see it, they are about their money. They got a lot of businesses. This is a smart, well-rounded group of people who actually are business-minded, and I wish we saw more of it. Or I guess we're going to see more at the expo. But I
have some questions though about Tisha and Marceau's business tactics, but we'll get to that. But right, we're going to touch on it a little bit when we talk about the expo.
Yeah, the expo.
The expo in Tisha's language. What you think about the expo? I thought it was messy boots.
I thought it was a first try, and I think it's a good one. You know, listen, she never did this before. And can we also talk about? Sometimes I see a lot of hate towards Tisha, and don't get me wrong. In the beginning seasons, I wasn't feeling Tisha much either, but I can't not acknowledge her growth. And what I mean by that is this was a woman that was in the house in the kitchen, and Melody had to dust her out and take her out into the world and be like, this is what Black women are doing now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
From under the rock.
Come out and see that. And then you see her slowly but surely coming into her own to the point where she is leading a comeback group meeting with PowerPoint presentation, and you're trying to do a whole Black expo where people are trying to come in. The whole black expo where people trying to come in and learn about Huntsville and all the Black businesses in Huntsville, all the blackity black. You go, Tisha. So I think, is it going to be janky a little bit? Sure, but you know, aren't the first ones always a little janky? We had a little issue with the live.
Yes, we did. But I think that for me, I think I like Tisha's growth. I don't really care for her too much, but I do like Tisha's growth. But I think she really fumbled. Not so much fumbled the bag, but fumbled a business move or business plan when she had it out with Mel, because that could have been a serious mentor for her, even behind the scenes, off the show. She should have her and Marceau should have went to a couple of other expos.
Yep.
And really talk to people that are actually doing it. You mean to tell me you on a show as big as Marriage in Hunts Point, and you mean to tell me you gonna rent that little space, knowing that you have fans, knowing that you probably have business people coming from all over to ask you questions, you gonna rent that little space?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. The space didn't make any sense. We're jumping because we're jumping towards the end, but even with the sit down, y'all didn't know about sponsors.
Oh,
didn't know how you gonna pay people.
Mel had to tell them.
Melody had to give you that idea. You didn't know how to even get the damn sponsors. There's a lot of things she didn't know, and that she jumped the gun on. And I could tell. I wish that her and Mel relationship was better, because I think if it was better, Melody really could have had a handle, or could have helped her a little bit more. But I still will give Tisha a solid B+ for attempting something. And once again, the thing about attempting something, nobody said you had to give up. You could do it better the next year. Just take the notebook out and learn as much as you can and do what you got to do. But I have to still lead with, I am proud of her. I am proud of her. I'm proud that she is not taking no crap these days from Marceau, especially over that office and her business rights, because she does own part of that business. And I'm not lying, right? She owns a percentage of that business. She owns. So my thing is, I'm happy that she's flexing and puffing out her chest a little bit. It's coming a little slow, But that's what happens when you are with somebody since you were young. You got to try to find that voice again. But I will say I am happy that Tisha is stepping out of her bubble and doing this Black Expo, and I think it is. I think it is good. Listen, she might as well just call it the Expo. If I was her, I would mark it like that. Like what we like
capitalize off.
If I was her, I said, listen, the Expo with whatever, like that.
Yeah,
come to Tisha's Expo. Call it a day, because that's what we know it as now. The Expo. Shoot,
I think that the fact that they would include Stormy and Martell is right. First of all, Martell being messy boots. Okay, time out. Sidebar. What the hell was wrong with his eyes? Somebody beat him up?
I don't know.
Or he had an allergic reaction.
His eye?
Or he had allergic reaction.
Remember when he was doing the facial because he said his eyes are starting to bag a little? I don't know if
bag. It looked like somebody hit him with a bag of onions.
Maybe he's not getting enough sleep. The court case.
Somebody either he had allergic reaction or somebody kicked his ass.
I don't know. I just sometimes I try not to look at Martell, because the thing with Martell is this, and I think I wrote this. Martell, when he was first talking, he finds any excuse to want to be around Mel. What you mean you don't understand? Keep the courtroom, and we're battling the custody of our kids, allegedly. You're trying to, who was trying to take who away from who? Was it Melody trying to get full, or was it Martell trying to get full?
He was trying to get full because of child support.
But my thing is, dude, this is not the time where I could leave court in the court and anything I say, you could use it against me in court. You already subpoenaed Chris and Nell without their knowledge. So you're wilding. I don't want to be around you. But once again, Melody, say what it is. Right. Say it outright. Right. Say that I don't want to mess with this man anymore, because this is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what happened. Give it to us, because they're doing it online. And I'm not saying you got to go low. I'm saying you got to go with the truth. Go with the truth. Show these divorced women what it means when you leave a divorce, and how, because once again, the beautiful thing, Carlos got right. You got both people to sign back on to this show. So we're seeing two perspectives. We have never seen this in reality TV. We have not seen this on Housewives. When Nene and Greg divorced, we barely saw Greg. Anytime these housewives go through a divorce, we don't see them in.
Well, they're both executive producers of the show. So, I mean, even though they don't have to be on the show, but I think they know reality TV.
Yeah, and
they know reality TV, and they're playing on that. But I feel like, why would they add Stormy to the Expo at the last minute, and she do it with as big of a business as she has without asking any questions?
And on top of that, the thing that made me very upset was the fact that even before, because we're going to go into the money is what you're trying to go into. Even before that, you, like literally 2 minutes before Marcel asked her about the money, y'all were still unclear about payment. So why are we asking her? Tisha said we wasn't asking them for $100.
Right.
That's what she said.
And then Tisha have to pay people to talk at expos.
At the expo. Yeah, you do. Usually
you pay speakers.
Or you give them something, a swag bag, or you give them stuff. You know what I'm saying?
You have to pay content creators to come to an event. You got to pay people. So for her to come and speak for free, you couldn't give her a booth for free. You're going to ask her for $100. Y'all really pressed for $100.
And then on top of that, how y'all asking people for $100 when the other lady, what was her name, Angela or something? You was letting people in before people was even set up. It just was not. It wasn't
organized.
It wasn't professional enough for Marceau to think he had the right to go up to Stormy and ask her for $100, especially when her booth was fly as hell and she was coming to represent. And y'all, like you said, asked the last minute. And the thing I'm mad about with Tisha is every time Tisha takes 10 steps forward, meaning leading, and her doing the damn thing, and I'd be like, yes, Tisha, I'm proud of you. You go back into that Stepford wife. Why did you sanction that? This is your expo.
Baby, I don't know where a lot of these people are from, like in their mind. But for me, my man would not appreciate some man coming to talk to me up in my
face. Lucky Courtney wasn't there.
Right. Baby, it's a no-no. If I've been speaking to your wife thus far, when it came to planning, when it came to all of that, organizing, looking at the venue, baby, I'm going to continue to speak to your wife. If you step to me as a man and ask and going to touch me and ask for baby, you better go touch your neighbor. Don't touch me.
No.
Touch your neighbor.
And especially when Marcel said he spoke to Courtney about payment. So how you know she even aware of that? So if you spoke to Courtney, continue the way I spoke to your wife, you call my husband. You don't sit there and come to me and say, hey, yeah, Stormy, about that $100. About the $100? $100? That should be like $10 to y'all. That should be like $10.
Why did he sound like a nigga on the street? Sorry.
Right.
But he sounded like a dude on the street, like, where my $100 at?
My $100. And I love how Stormy handled that. You very low vibrational.
When she said that, I even wrote that in the notes.
Huh?
I said, child, low vibrational, $100, ghetto.
And I wrote that. I said, low vibrational. And I said, why is Marcel being so condescending? And it's like, even when she expressed that she is uncomfortable, as a man, you are above her height, weight, body. You're coming up to, I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying Marcel was aggressive. I'm not labeling him. He's just a sarcastic ass. And my thing is, you see I'm sweating. I'm setting up a booth. You come over. Hey, guys, you need help with anything? Oh, okay. You got that $100? What? Like, you're so condescending.
Why is he going around? How much that costs? How much that costs? How much that costs? I'm like, y'all didn't have a budget?
Right. And y'all didn't map out, y'all didn't come out with a schematic and saw whose booth was going to go where. And even with Stormy said, y'all didn't give me dimensions. So listen, and you know what? Let's appreciate Stormy right now. Y'all did not provide her dimensions. Y'all didn't tell her she had to take, but she flipped it and reversed it in that section. She got a little couch, a whole whatever. You talking about she took up a whole wall.
For a business of her caliber,
it's a big space.
It's a huge thing. I was watching Essence Fest where Millie hair, I don't know if I'm saying the company right, but
I know what product you're talking about.
Right. They give these customers a full out experience. So when you say expo of a business like Canva,
yeah,
you're gonna give me more than just a table. I've done pop-ups for my business and I had a table, but when you say expo, you could have did this outside with endless amount of space, or you could have had a better venue. That was crazy. I'm like, y'all having a baby shower, or is this an expo?
Right. And like she said, like, y'all didn't provide no dimensions, but she brought more than enough, because if you didn't provide me no dimensions, I guess my brain, I would think, all right, let me just bring just a little bit of stuff. But she did a lot, and she took it serious. So for her to take this level of care for her business and to be part of this and bring all this material that I'm sure costs more than $100, especially when minutes before you approached her, y'all still were unclear. I just didn't understand that part. Like, and then Tisha, why would you allow? This is your expo. Why are you allowing Marcel to ruin the bridges? This is your expo. I don't understand why you're sitting here letting him talk to a woman. You should have sat there and told your husband, no, you stand here. Stop. Cut it, because Courtney isn't here, and I don't need nobody else saying something about.
I think Marcel and Tisha were both being ill prepared. Passive aggressive.
That's why Melody didn't want to be part of that.
And just really cheap.
Yeah, that's why Melody didn't want to be part of that. And I agree. I'm not about to put my brand to something that y'all are unclear sponsorship and all of this shit. And I had to give y'all, and like Melody said, and if I didn't tell y'all that idea, what was going to be the other route y'all were going to take?
Right.
It didn't sound like y'all were up to code, but like she said, I'll help you in the background. That's what she said. But I don't know. I just feel, the point I was going to make, though, with Tisha in reference to Melody, when I was talking about how Melody need to move. Like I said, I love Melody, but the route she's going, I don't know if you watch Real Housewives of New Jersey, but if Melody keeps going this route where you're not trying to have these deep conversations and you want to be passive and you're not trying to let nobody in, you're going to mess around and Danielle stop yourself. And what I mean by that is eventually it's going to get to a point where nobody's connected to you. So why are we filming with you? And slowly but surely, if Tisha keep going on this trajectory of her growth, it may be slow, but it's happening. I wouldn't be surprised if Tisha anchors herself in a way where she is immovable, because she already gets along with everybody. She's already forging bridges with Kiki. She's already trying to make things work with Tiffany. She already is getting friendly with Stormy. Her and Kimmy are like this sometimes, but they have a history because of the Scott men. Mm-hmm. Tisha is slowly but surely going to end up centering herself in this group where you were the front runner. If you don't start
That's a good point. That's
having real conversations with people and you don't start letting your fans in, you need to start Bethany Franklin in. And what I mean by that is the beautiful thing about Bethany is she was the Greek choir of the show. She always said what the audience was thinking. That's what made her original. Right. She said what she knew we would scream out. That needs to be you, Melody. Like, you need to start talking about what's pissing you off with everybody and then clear the air.
Right.
But you need to let people have it, and you need to start telling about Martell, whatever you can tell legally, and you need to start putting people, like the way you did that live where you said slow. We need that. We need all of that. Where you address that, we need you to start letting things off your chest. Stop acting like you're unbothered. You are bothered.
I think the one way she could let things off her chest is showing us her new man.
She ain't gonna show us that, and I kind of respect it, but then I don't, because then Destiny get fired for that same issue. Because she wasn't.
She didn't have a storyline.
She didn't have a storyline, and also remember she was unwilling to show. So it's like, if you can't, and that's kind of like hypocritical too, Carlos. You can't sit there and fire one person, or I don't know, allegedly, you can't sit there and let go of one person because they wasn't trying to showcase their life, but Melody gets to do these dips and all of this stuff and scenes. That's not fair. It's just truly not fair that she gets to have agency over who she wants to have certain. And why is Chris and Nell not on the show? Because they would be a good addition. Chris and Nell, Chris Fletcher.
I don't know. I really like them though.
I like them a lot, and I think they could get rid of the Whitlows. And sorry,
the Whitlows, child.
I'm sorry. It's.
I got a lot to say about that Tiffany, but
Tiffany a little.
I'm gonna let her.
We could talk about Tiffany when she back on the show. She hasn't been on in 2 episodes, but probably nursing that baby.
I'm sick of Tiffany, man.
I just feel like
she's messy boots. Yeah, it's good reality TV, and she brings a lot.
Yeah. But
she's messy is all
unnecessarily
hell.
Though. It's not even like it makes sense for you to be.
Oh my gosh, she is Mexican boots.
She is definitely messy, but it's mess with no point. Because it's not your story. Like that whole charade crap, if that would have been Kimmy, that would make sense. Because Kimmy actually knows them, knew them, married, all of that stuff, yada, yada, yada. If that was Tisha, that would make sense. Hell, if it was Destiny, that would make sense. It don't make sense for you to ask these damn questions. Nobody even you're not part of the core 6.
But I think she did that too while she was pregnant because she knew that nobody was going to whoop her ass.
And she knew Sheree wasn't going, because Sheree could give you a wig shift. We didn't get Sheree from Housewives on that guest appearance. Because if it was anybody else, it might have been a different reaction from Sheree. But Sheree was trying to watch it because she was pregnant.
Right.
But so that's it. But I just feel I love me some Mel. I want Mel to win. I want you to show us this unique situation that we have. Oh my God. I hate that. I feel like I'm feasting. But it's like you and Martell are both on this show going through an active situation. Show people what that looks like so that we could actually know what we're even getting into when we get married.
Ciao.
Ciao.
So what, because I know we've been here for an hour.
We did good,
guys. Don't forget to, it went by so fast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, everybody. Put the bell button on for more notifications.
Tag Carlos.
Tag Carlos on Instagram, YouTube, and any other new apps they got today. Okay, so 1 to 10, what would you rate this episode?
1 to 10. I would give it a 7.5, only because the episode before that was more of an 8 for me. When they started, every time we get Melody with Nell, I get the Mel I want. And that's what I want more.
She's comfortable.
I love Melody with Nell. I love Melody even with Kimmy. I swear the show would be a lot better if Melody just gives us more. Like, because right now everybody's doing their part, even if it's terrible. Maurice is terrible, but he's doing a part. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like I want everybody at that level. Not seeing her on this episode was kind of weird. But with just that little scene,
right?
I didn't like that, you know, and it was an incomplete scene. Even if that scene you gave us what you're really pissed off about with Stormy, that would have brought it up for me. But it's like these little scenes that you're in leaves us wanting more because I don't understand. I'm confused. And I'm not on social media like all of y'all to know the real background. I did my research for this. But
Right.
Other than that, I'm not really on to know about like what Stormy did to Melody. So that means when I was watching the scene, I was kind of like, what are you so pissed about?
Right.
So I would say a 7.5, maybe an 8 because of the men. But the episode before, when we were talking about the court case and all of that stuff, with Chris and Nell and all of them, that dynamic, and with Marcel and his mother, and I love them, and all of that stuff, that was more of a better episode for me.
For me, I don't have a rating. I think they need to take the show off the air.
You no, you want it off? I just feel like they need to get rid of some.
I do. I feel like if they don't hurry up and change it, they are gonna lose a lot of their core audience.
What would be the change you would make? Ooh, I sound like Carlos. What would be the change you would make?
I would definitely stop putting mothers on there that are just, you getting Wanda 2.0.
No more Wandas. No more Wandas.
You know, like you got rid of Wanda to get, no disrespect to Stormy's mom, but someone similar. I'm tired of seeing mothers like that on reality TV.
Yeah.
Anyway, y'all could bring it without getting y'all parents involved.
Right.
Because who wants to curse out somebody's mama?
Nobody.
And the mamas is going to meet their match. Because there's a lot of people that don't got respect for people's mamas. You might say something to me, and I just might.
I'm sorry. I'm 31 years old.
Off with mama head. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like nobody is gonna sit there and get disrespected. So it's just weird having that dynamic on reality TV in general.
Right.
And
it's been done before with Mama Joyce, Mama D. It's been done. It's been done before.
And I think people are more aware of the toxicity on that show. Right. And I think people are tired. I know I am.
I think a lot of people are also tired, once again, is because the show's becoming too much work. Carlos needs to streamline his cast. And what I mean by that is get off of the Twitter, get off of this. This is where you're putting your energy, because y'all sit there and film these scenes that makes no sense. And then we got to go do homework.
Yeah.
We got to go do homework to know what was really supposed to be said. And this is dumb. Y'all have a camera. Give us what it's supposed to get. Give us the early versions of Real Housewives back when, you know, they had to have them conversations on, because there was no Instagram or whatever. Get off of the social media and start having these conversations in front of the camera. Melody, when you sat there and filmed that scene with Nell and you broke down crying about how you was not signing on to see your kids 1 week on, 1 week off, and you was talking about how Martell was doing this and that. I'm not saying I enjoyed your pain. I enjoyed that you showed us that. And oftentimes, a lot of people in this world, we're not showing emotion. And I love people who are brave enough to show real emotion and range and show us the ins and outs of what you're going through currently. That's real. That's real.
It is. People want you to be relatable.
Yeah, I want you to be relatable. I want you to be real. And I want you to grieve. It's okay. You was married to that man for a very long time. I'm sure some parts of you must miss the family dynamic to a degree. You could show that. Ain't nobody seeing you any less than human for that. Even when Carlos cried to Martell at the reunion, I thought that was iconic. When he said, you miss your family. I like that. I like seeing that, because Martell actually looked like he was about to say the words, I messed up. That's
what. But just for Martell to turn around right after that and have a fight with her makeup artist. And I actually saw that live. Shout out to Chef Don Don and Jeremy Speaks and all of that. Chef Don Don had an interview with the makeup artist. Right. So it's like no,
I'm not saying I buy it.
And that's bad for Martell, but then you like,
and that's what, and I wrote this too. I said Martell's biggest quality about him is how charming he is, and how sometimes he could make you forget what he did. Knowing you're dealing with the ex like that is why you need to remind people what the hell he did, because Martell knows how to work a camera. And he knows how to work it, that he's so, I don't get it. Why can't we all get along? I'm Martell. And you almost forget. You be like, yo, he seemed like a cool dude. You seem like
it's narcissism.
It is. It's sad, but that's why Melody got to take the gloves off. And sometimes it's sad that there's women out there that don't understand why she is the way she is, though. I don't get that part.
When you dealt with a narcissist, it's like the PTSD that you go through during or after. It's like, child, you really have to the therapy that you got to go through after dealing with a narcissist is crazy. And you will be in therapy for years for something that probably happened years ago. And it's like the healing process after dealing with a narcissist. So I see why she's acting the way that she acts. And I don't blame her.
I don't.
And I give her full grace.
100%.
And understanding and empathy and sympathy. Because she's still dealing with it in real time.
That's the father for kids. They always say the worst thing to do is have a kid with a narcissist because they're going to use that to eternity. Listen, I get it because I'm still recovering from a narcissistic relationship I was in, and it was just a relationship with no children. And I'm in therapy, but I made sure to tell myself I am not, because I recognize he imprinted certain things in me as a response. I don't like it.
The worst thing you could do is have a child with a narcissist.
They say that. The worst thing you could do is to have a child with a narcissist because they will use that kid. And then if they can't get to you,
is a pawn.
If they can't get to you, they will manipulate that kid's mind because it's something wrong up here and in here. They don't even know sometimes what they're doing. It's like they said that there's something in them that prevents them from holding accountability. They have to actively learn how to be accountable. That's scary. That's really scary. So everything I say about Melody comes from a place of I get it. You know what? I don't get it. I wasn't married, but I understand to a degree. And this is why when I see her on TV, I often kind of want her to be like a big sis and walk us through how we get through this shit. But not the fake way.
Like when you're in it, you don't know how to get through being with the narcissist, being married to a narcissist, having kids with the narcissist. So I don't want her to tell people how to get through it. You know what I mean? Because you're going in there blind, and every day is a new thing but a narcissist.
Yep.
It's good. It's 1 hour is good. The next minute is bad. Next day is bad. The other day is worse, and worse ain't even the word.
And he's so charismatic too, and that's the thing that I hate is because sometimes I find myself being like, "Ha ha ha!" Martell. Wait, I remember it.
A lot of times narcissists are charming, and a lot of them be good looking.
One thing we can't say is Martell is not ugly. He's not ugly.
I think he's ugly. I think he was good looking when he was with Mel. I think 100%. He's very ugly.
Yes, everything we learned about him make him ugly. But when we first was introduced to Martell Hall, he wasn't ugly.
I thought both of them were just gorgeous.
Yeah, they were beautiful together.
Beautiful kids, beautiful house, and beautiful
blended kids too. You don't know which one looks more like who.
Oh my God, it was just a beautiful family. But
we don't see little M&Ms anymore. We don't see them anymore.
Well, you know, by law they can't be on TV.
Kenya Moore was going through the same thing. I think allegedly
so she's trying to fight that because, you know, that means a check for the kids. Because when you have kids on TV, you gotta, by law, a certain amount of scenes, you gotta pay them.
Oh, we get some people.
He really loves Stormy and was willing. Okay, hold on. We're gonna put your comment up here. Courtney did that because he really loves Stormy and was willing to get his mother's perspective. And that is a good point. I thought that was beautiful how he was vulnerable enough to know I'm going to go to the source, like we said earlier, and I'm going to get her perspective and why I am the way that I am.
And I want more men to do that.
Unlike some damn Scott brothers.
Scott men don't think they wrong. But the dad tried to talk, and that's the thing. I really like that scene with his father. Marceau and his dad. You could tell Marceau respects his father because that's how they, you know, whatever it was. But with that scene, his dad was like, at some point, you got to stop. And you could tell Marceau was like the yes, sir. You know, like it was something there. I don't know. I just feel, I love that Courtney demonstrated what it means to go somewhere else and not keep taking it out on your girl. She did nothing
wrong. Go to the source.
And I love that he said that. I love that he said that. He said the words, she's not the problem. I'm trying to figure out what is the problem. Because some people just want to keep picking at you and picking at you and picking at you, and it's not you. So I did appreciate that small scene, and I hope we get more of those things. And I hope more men honestly watch the show. No, Carlos got to fix some things because this ain't the perfect example.
Like we said, Carlos King, if you watch it, baby, come on.
Carlos.
We need to have a coming to Jesus moment with Carlos.
I would love to have some drinks with Carlos. I feel like he's a good time. I think he's a good time. But I think he's a good time. And I honestly feel like he do listen to the fans, don't he? He be watching YouTube.
He does listen to the fans. I know under one of his videos I had commented and I think he liked it. Like I like Carlos, but I got to hold you to task. Like the amount of toxic Black relationships you choosing to put on TV, baby, delete some of them people off the show because it's not.
So my change, I would definitely let go of probably Tiffany and Louis just don't make sense to me on the show anymore because it just seems like they're forcing this friendship. It's not working. It's just not working. I don't know how they are as people, but it's just not working. It just doesn't feel authentic. It just feels like they're this couple that is just here. Stormy seems like she's integrating a little bit more. So I will give Stormy one more season, but can we please get an explanation as to why Chris and Nell are not full-time? Do they not want to be? Because I think that's a marriage we could see because he seemed like he liked his wife and it seems positive over there unless there's something in the YouTubers that they let me know what their relationship is like. It seems like they have a good discernment and they used even when they was given like they sit down with Melody and Martell, that iconic when they still came dressed alike, even when they wasn't married. And she threw the glass. You could tell that they had some sort of, if they could serve as an anchor for long relationships, because even when Marceau used his name, allegedly, we don't know if Chris was really with him in that place.
Atlanta.
But yeah, we don't know if it was really Chris, but when Chris sat there and said, why did you use my name? And you could tell Marceau even had a little bit of like, hesitance with how he was going to respond to Chris. Not saying scared, but it seemed like there was a level of respect. And I think I would add Chris and Nell. I would bring Chris and Nell as full-time people because they have history with all of them.
I think that definitely would be good to get a different perspective by bringing in a more seasoned couple and getting rid of the toxic couple. I don't know. It's just unfortunate how many toxic relationships.
Because we can't get rid of Maurice. We can't get rid of Marceau. At this point, they're the core six.
We actually need to do another live dissecting this whole Fox Soul.
Yes. Yes.
So we're gonna do that, but I know we're a little bit over.
We are over. I'm sorry, girl.
And we could just keep talking about this show.
Yes, we can.
All day, but everyone don't forget to like, share, subscribe, put the bell button on for more notifications. Shout out to the replay crew, those that are watching it after the live. You can also subscribe and share this live, share it with your mama, share it with your pastor, share it with the people at the family court. Go ahead and share this live with everybody. Also, Kenya, let the people know where they can find you.
Yes. So make sure, once again, you guys follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Kickin It with Kenya. KICKNITWIT_Kenya. And that's my Instagram. That's my TikTok. That's my Twitter. Are you getting Thread?
I was thinking about getting Thread, but then I'm like, all these damn apps.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about Thread. I'm thinking about Thread. So, and then also I have a Facebook, Kicking It with Kenya as well. You can also find me on Louis P TV on YouTube. That's my show over there, Kicking It with Kenya. So,
so I'm gonna put Louis P's comment here. You guys can click on Louis P's TV to see a lot of her videos, and then y'all know where y'all can find me right here now.
I'm also sorry, no, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, girl.
Y'all can find me Shayla Set on Twitter, Instagram. I do have a page on Facebook, Shayla Set. This live will be posted on all social media platforms. We are gonna try to do this often. I say once a week. We're gonna try to call it Girl Chat.
Yeah.
But we're still working out the kinks, y'all, with the StreamYard, y'all.
This was good. This is our first one.
This was good. And there were a few more people in the chat, which is great. Shout out to it was quite a few people commenting. My aunts were in the chat. Shout out to my aunties. So I guess that'll be it. Any closing remarks or any last words? What were your final thoughts on the episode?
No, I think we touched on. All I'm saying is just like, Carlos, call us.
We need to have a team.
And if you do something in New York, I'm here.
They do watch these videos. They do watch.
I'm here. I'm ready for my debut.
I know that's right now. I'm gonna slide his.
We will make good TV. We will make good TV.
Yes, we would, girl. Or a show on
relationship. Yes.
I know.
Right.
Show. Now this is a show they need to be having on own. Okay.
For real.
Two black women doing the damn thing, telling it like it is.
100%. But yeah, thank you, girl.
All right, thank you for coming. Bye, everybody. Bye. Don't forget, y'all can replay this live anytime you want.
Bye.
All right, bye, y'all. Bye.